Ratcliffe Committee was appointed to 2014. Solve the problem of minorities in India, to give effect to the Independence Bill, delimit the boundaries between India and Pakistan, then inquire into riots in East Bengal. So we know the answer is delimit the boundaries between India and Pakistan. So this is Ratcliffe Committee. So this is about the entire chronology of Indian national movement from the beginning. We started with that Gajapati rulers question. Then I will ending a Ratcliffe Committee question. So some more not theme-wise question, but again some standalone questions for us. We will discuss those questions also. Okay. So we finish up with the chronological order from the beginning of the modern history to until the independence, and now certain standalone questions which cannot be categorized into any particular themes. A few questions for us about from the British Acts, okay, like Trade Disputes Act 1929 provided for, okay. So 2017 is first asked. The participation of workers in the management of industries, okay. Then again, arbitrary powers of the management to quell industrial disputes, an intervention by the British court in the event of a trade dispute, and system of tribunals, and a ban on strikes. So it was when this act was being passed itself only. So Bhagat Singh and Bajukeshwar, that is, they went and throw the bomb, okay. So through Central Legislative Assembly, that is armless bomb. So that is actually, this act was brought to deal with the growing left wing as well as socialism influence in India. The answer option is actually D, the system of tribunals and to ban strikes, because labor movement was going on. They wanted to stop the labor unrest which was going on in India, and that is to make provisions for establishment of courts of inquiry and board of conciliation with a view to investigate and settle trade disputes. So rest what we are going to discuss, all of them are quietly we can say slightly factuals in nature. Okay, so all the conceptual part we have discussed. Some of the questions which are standalone in nature, studies around, we can say around 30 to 40 slides are there. So we are going to answer those questions over here, okay, and related concepts too. And Act prohibited strikes and lockouts without notice in public utility services, like public utility, that public sector units we can talk about. And this was Trade Disputes Act 1929. Okay, and then again, these are all one slide. Consider the following statements. Factories Act 1881 was passed with a view to fix the wages of industrial workers and to allow the workers to form trade unions. M. Lokhande was a pioneer in organizing labor movement in British India. This is fine, but trade unions was not recognized over the Factories Act. Okay, so that is answer option is only 2 over here, only 2. So we'll discuss Factories Act, then again we'll come to M. Lokhande also. So Factories Act of 1881, Ripon, okay, the good British they say, and to improve the working conditions of labor, it was brought out, and 1 hour rest during the work. These are all factuals again, nothing to understand over there. And no children below the age of 7 should be employed in this particular factories. There are restrictions on the working hours for children below the age of 12. 1 hour rest should be there, and hazardous, dangerous machinery should be fenced off. Okay, that is Factories Act 1881. Then we talked about Trade Disputes Act of 1929. Then again, N.M. Lokhande is one of the pioneers in labor movement in India, a trade union movement in India. He was a member of Satyashodhak Samaj. He was a close associate of Jyotiba Phule, and one of the founders of Bombay Milllands Association in 1890. All these factuals. Okay. Involved in the formation of Indian Federation of Labour in 1920 and served as its president. Okay. So one of the pioneers of trade union movement, and took over the management of Dinabandhu, one of the newspapers in Marathi. Okay, that was N.M. Lokhande. Okay, and the first newspaper in India to explicitly cater to laboring people. Which one? That is Dinabandhu. First newspaper in India to cater explicitly to laboring people over there. Okay, and founded by Krishnarao Pandurang Balekar. Which one? This newspaper. That was founded by Krishnarao Balekar, but it was taken over by N.M. Lokhande. Okay, it was the first labor organization, that is Working Men's Club in 1870 Calcutta by actually Shashipada Banerjee. So he is also one of the contributors to labor movement in India, and N.M. Lokhande also contributed for the labor movements in India too. Okay, the first Working Men's Club in Calcutta, that is first labor organization ever. Okay, in 1920 also Madras Labor Union was also established. Okay, so then again one more question, we talk about the object of Butler Committee of 1927, self standalone. So hopefully you people got the value out of all these things, the PYQ's way of learning. Okay, so we know I know that is you people have learned history. Okay, so that many people have discussed PYQs. I try to bring a different approach over there, try to bring in all the themes over there. Again, look at most of this, that is few of the questions in ancient history and medieval history as well as modern history. They came out of current affairs based itself only. Okay, so many of them were in current affairs, and also they related themes, different themes getting repeated. So now all the themes I have discussed. Probably I missed a few of the questions. It is not like I have completed all the questions. It's quite impossible to complete. There will be certain questions that you cannot answer. So don't worry about such kind of questions. Don't worry about such kind of questions which you cannot answer. So focus on the basic part of the questions, basic questions that you can really where everybody answers. You shouldn't miss out on such kind of answer. That is the reason the basic understanding of history is important. Basic chronology is important. So basic chronology is important. I think I have already mentioned about my Telegram channel. Okay, so that you can look it over there. That is, I'm trying to bring the chronology based flowcharts in one everyday one theme. I will be keep sharing over there. So started with the prehistory. I think now in Indus Valley Civilization, the history chronicles. History chronicles. Okay, so by Guru. So you can check this Telegram channel. So you can join this channel. That is, I will bring that basic conceptual clarities. So in one everyday one flowchart will be shared. So it is not like content wise, but content will be converted into some kind of infographics as well as flowcharts. So you can just check out this channel, History Chronicles by Guru. So there I will try to bring some kind of chronological way of understanding history. That is aside from ancient, medieval, then again modern history. Okay, so because thing is that one basic understanding of history is quite important. Basic understanding of history is quite important. Again, same thing for polity also, same thing for economy also, same thing for geography also. Focus on the basics. So don't worry about this kind of bouncers and Yorker question that is nobody can answer. So in running, don't run behind these questions because everybody runs behind that question. So always stick to the basics, and that will play a hugely important role. Especially that is the game changer in prelims. And also in the same group, I will try to bring current affairs also. Every day I will share from the Bangalore edition of Hindu. That is which topics to read, which topic to write down, which topics are prelims oriented, which topics are mains oriented. So everything I'm trying to bring in that channel. So please, you can go and check that channel. Okay. So object of Butler Committee of 1927, 2017 again. Define the jurisdiction of central and provincial governments. That is in 1919 Act actually. 1919 Act. Define the powers of Secretary of State for India. That was 1858 Act actually. And then again, impose censorship on national press. Various acts were passed: Newspapers Act, Official Secrets Act, Rowlatt Act. Okay. Then in Defense of India Act. Then lastly, improve relationship between Government of India and Indian state. That is princely states we are talking about. There is Arcot Butler Committee of 1927. Answer option is D. And that is some other members were also there. And that is William Cyril Holdsworth as well as Sidney Pill. Okay. So they're trying to define what is paramountcy is. What is a British paramountcy over Indian states? What is a British paramountcy over Indian states? So that is Arcot Butler Committee to bring greater cooperation between British government as well as the Indian princely states. Okay. Then again, look at this, some revolutions, or we can say tribal revolts question were asked. So after the Santhal uprising subsided, what were the measures taken by colonial government in 2018? The territorial called Santhal Paraganas was created. It became illegal for a Santhal to transfer land to a non-Santhal because that was a major issue, because they disrupted the entire agrarian order, the entire tribal culture, the British policies. And that is the reason that is tribals majorly revolted against losing of their identity, losing of their culture, losing of their lands also. So answer option is both, that's 1 and 2. So tribal revolts is one aspect we will cover over here. Then again, Ulgulan, the great tumult is the description of which of the following events. That is not the revolt of 1857, the Mappila revolt we talked about in non-cooperation movement. Again, Indigo revolt of 1859-60. So again, we talk about Neel Darpan. Okay, this question is also asked. Okay, so Neel Darpan. Okay, so that is one act, that is one book, play, Neel Darpan play that bring out Indigo revolt of 1859-60. Again, it is Birsa Munda's revolt. We'll discuss Birsa Munda revolt. We'll discuss Santhal revolt. Mappila, just gave a brief idea about that one. And Indigo revolt, 1859-60, forceful cultivation of indigo in Bengal province. Okay, that happened over there. So 1857 revolt, I have given brief overview about that one. And this Indigo revolt got support from all the intellectuals of Bengal during that point of time. And this Indigo revolt has majorly showcased in this Neel Darpan play. Okay. And look at the Santhal rebellion, 55-56, lived in the eastern part of the country, that is in Bhagalpur, known as Damaniko, their area is called as, and they want to expel the outsiders. The outsiders were given a term, and that is called as the Daikus. And the principal leaders of this particular movement were Sido, Kanhu, and then again Chand, and then again Bhairav. What is the major causes? The major cause, that is extortion by the police and courts. disposition of their property, that is complete disruption of the tribal order, and abuse and personal violences by British officials against tribals. Then again, particularly the moneylenders entry into tribal areas with the support of Britishers, they led to charging of interest rate from 50 to 500%. 50 to 500%. Okay, so that led to Santhal revolt. Okay, so Santals in eastern part of the country. And then again, British mobilized the military. More than 15,000 Santals were killed. And what happened aftermath? That Santals inhabited areas were reconstituted into a different administrative unit called as Santal Parganas. Okay, and they recognized the distinctive culture of tribal culture through Santal Parganas Tenancy Act in 1876. So now they banned a transfer of land because the major issue was disposition of property as well as losing their land, losing their identity. Now the Britishers banned that one, that is Santals land could not be taken over by some other non-Santals. So that is Santals Tenancy Act 1876. So these are very simple. Okay, so just for factuals again, nothing to understand over there, because most of the tribal revolts arises from the same set of causes. Same set of causes. The coals of Chota Nagpur, look at that one. 1820 to 1837, it was a continuous rebellion. Again in the eastern part of the country, Ranchi, Singhbhum, Hazaribagh and Palamu, that's in again Jharkhand, Bihar region. Then causes transfer of lands, again disposition of property. And moneylenders, there was also moneylenders were there. Okay, operation actions of moneylenders demanding heavy taxes. And again, British judicial and revenue policies badly affecting traditional and social conditions, disruption of the social order, that played a role. Okay, and under leadership of Buddha Bhagat, the major revolt happened in 1831, and they killed and burnt about 1,000 outsiders over there, because their major reaction was again that is outsiders shouldn't enter their lands. Only after large scale military actions and the order was restored. Okay, that is coals of Chota Nagpur between 1820 to 1837, but the major revolt in 1831 under leadership of Buddha Bhagat. And again, Birsa Munda revolt. Okay, it's also called as Great Tumult, Ulgulan. Okay, 1890s, again Chota Nagpur region, where most of the tribals are concentrated in Indian landmass, and they want to greater independence, establishing Munda Raj. So Birsa Munda, so he came as a kind of a messiah to these people. And again, destruction of their system of common land holdings, intrusion of the outsiders like Jagirdars, Tikadars, the revenue farmers and merchant and money lenders. Again, look at that one. There are common causes. You have to identify these common causes. Encroaching on tribal lands. Okay, again disposition of property, disruption of the tribal order, again conversions policies also, Christian missionaries activities. So what you have to do is that one, that is make certain columns, that is revolt, year, what is the cause, who is the leader, what happened later. So again you can create for all the tribal revolts and peasant revolts. So, tribal revolt different column, peasant revolt different columns. So you can go through them. This is Birsa Munda revolt. Okay. Then what happened in this particular, he declared himself as the divine messenger and possessing miraculous power. That is the reason people rallied behind him. Thousands of people rallied behind him as a messiah, and he began to move from village to villages, creating awareness, organizing people, and he started rebellion on the eve of Christmas Eve, 1899, and he was captured and died in jail in June 9, the same year 1900. Okay, so this is what happened to Birsa Munda. 3 revolts, that is Santal, then again Coals, then again Birsa Munda revolt. Again, all these are majorly factual details about. Okay, so we are trying to know about them.